Hi, Paul Slapkus, Good News Broadcast. Speaking to Jim Koch. Hi, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing great, Paul. How are you?
Okay, great. Jim is running that Samuel Adams company, beer company, and
we call it a brewery, Paul. Sam Adams Brewery.
Sam Adams Brewery, and it's a great place, and you're a great corporate citizen as well. I want to throw that out there because that's the truth. Do a lot of good things for the community and the world. So, and we also have David Burke. Hi, David. How are you?
Hi, Paul. How you doing?
Okay, good. And he's a chef, and we're going to do some barbecuing. We're going to talk about the holiday season and coming up now, and then that runs for the next 600-700 years straight. And so tell us about some good ways to go about the holiday.
Well, for grilling season this year, there's an increasing awareness of quality beer here in the United States as craft brewers have start making these world-class, very flavorful beers, and that gives you an opportunity to pair good food and good beer, because you can take a beer like Sam Adams Boston Lager that has a lot of like malty sweetness up front and some caramel notes. That pairs very nicely with the caramel notes that you're going to get from grilled food. And Sam Adams Boston Lager has this then very complex sort of herbal, spicy bitterness that picks up on the spicy flavors that David puts into his grilled food.
Okay. So, David, tell us a little bit about some of the food we're looking at.
Well, we put together a marinade, which is very important with grilling. And the marinade starts with oil. We replace the vinegar, which would traditionally be in a vinaigrette or a marinade, with Sam Adams Boston Lager for a couple reasons: for better flavor profile and for more caramelization. That being the base of the marinade, we add mustard, Dijon mustard, mustard powder, roasted garlic, a couple other forms of heat, and black pepper, cayenne pepper, and chili powder. Of course, we add salt before we go on the grill, and we always add salt when the meat comes off the grill. And we try to throw in some spices on a rub, whether it's for chicken or for beef, and in that we use grains of paradise and coriander seed and certain things that might complement the beer that you're drinking. Also, this basic marinade is used for vegetables, zucchini, mushrooms, tomatoes, onions on the grill, as well as corn on the cob and things like that. So that's a basic all-around marinade made with beer.
Yeah, it sounds like it's made with a lot of love. I mean,
there's a lot of thought involved and a lot of love, but there's one that's very, very simple, and that is a bottle of beer, a tablespoon of salt, and a tablespoon of sugar, and that's what we call the lazy man. And well, that's a great brine, and it's very simple, and it's hard to forget.
I somehow, Jim, you've been able to get that kind of a feeling of your personal, I will say, love for what you do, translated into your product. How do you think that's all came about?
This is my beer. This is the beer that I first made in my kitchen 25 years ago when, the entire company was just two people. And I started Sam Adams because I'm a sixth-generation brewer, and I wanted to bring back quality beer to the United States at a time when beer was kind of becoming lighter and lighter and less flavorful and sort of an alcoholic soda pop. To me, beer has all the dignity and nobility and history and tradition of wine, and I wanted to remind American beer drinkers of that.
Your ancestry is from what part of the world?
Well, from Germany. My great-great-great-grandfather came over from Germany 150 years ago as a brewer.
Wow. So it's in the blood.
About 0.04%, but yes, it is in the blood a little bit, but safe and legal.
Okay, and safe and legal also, put it out there, is an important aspect, and I think it's something that you guys talk about so often.
Yeah, because we're making a beer that's a little bit different. It's a big, flavorful beer that you're going to sip and you're going to savor. You're not going to throw down a 12-pack of Sam Adams. It's just too much taste.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel that you have I like this word, full body. I like a beer that has some substance to it, and that's why I do drink your beer, because it's for me it isn't water. There's somehow, however you do it, which I don't know how you do it. How can you get some water to and mixture to be so rich?
Well, that's a key part of the brewer's art. You know, I want to pack as much flavor in a bottle of beer as I can, so I use a lot of malt. Sam Adams is a pure malt beer. There's no adjuncts like corn or rice or anything that lightens the beer up. It's very traditional. And then we use a lot of hops. We use a pound of hops in every barrel, where a normal beer will use an ounce or two. So all of that quality and quantity of ingredients gives you a big, flavorful beer.
And are those more expensive ingredients, or would hops
Yes.
be harder to actually cultivate and so on?
It's interesting that you should ask, because hops are kind of this unknown thing. Nobody really knows what they are. They're the spice in beer, and hops are to beer what grapes are to wine. Hops have all the same terroir issues of soil and sun and moisture and day length that make great grapes into great wine. The same thing is true with hops. And I go to Germany every year to small farms in Bavaria where the best hops in the world are still grown, and that's where I get the hops for Sam Adams.
Let me ask you about, because we're very involved, we've helped create the World Water Day for the United Nations, and we have a show called the Water Hour. We've done a lot of shows in this regard. How about the world's water concerns and condition, and how can that affect the world of beer?
Well, you know, that's a very interesting fact that has sort of been lost to history, but beer has played an important part in civilization because of its ability to give people safe hydration. You know, in the third world, where the water is often full of cholera and typhus and is a major health hazard, you know, people drink beer because beer is inherently safe. There is nothing harmful to human beings that has ever grown in beer. So when you read about the pyramids were built by people who got paid in beer, that's why the beer was safe when the water wasn't. Beer goes back that far? 10,000 years. Beer actually predates wine and bread. When mankind settled down into villages and created civilization, they started with beer. And if a beer sits in, say, in a basement for a year, you can still pop that open and it still can be safe? It will absolutely be safe. That beer can sit there for a year or a century, and nothing harmful will grow in it. Now, it will lose its freshness, and it won't have all the flavor that the brewer put in, but it will absolutely be safe. All right. Well, I know you guys got a lot of people to speak with. I'd like to make some more shows with you, Jim and David. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you so much for sharing. Last question, Jim. What's good news for you? The good news for me is I have the best job in the world. I get to make beer, I get to talk about beer, and I get to drink beer. David, how about for you?
You know what? I love my job too. I get to eat what I want when I want, and I get to create and I get to feed people. So I'm a pretty happy guy myself.
All right, guys. Well, have a great holiday season, and thanks a lot for taking a moment to speak with us.
Thank you, Paul.